This is part 2 of the orientation for Math 130 Hybrid Winter 2018 class for those enrolled in Professor Mahan's class in Long Beach City College. So this video, we will be going through the syllabus. So everything I'm going to go over here is written on the syllabus, but I just wanted to go over it verbally with you guys as well. The first page of the syllabus is basically my contact information, information about the class. Notice that there is a Facebook website, so I'll talk about more about that in my next video. There's an online homework website, which is Aleks.com, which is a really, really big deal. So I'll go over that in more details later. All right, so again, the first page is going to be giving you an overview of the class. Here is how your grade is broken down into. So if you notice, if you add this up, this goes up to 100%. I do want to highlight that the final exam and the 3 tests, if you add those up, 50 plus 20 is 70%. So 70% of your grade is earned by taking exams. Now, that means the other 30% of your grade is what I consider, quote unquote, the easy A part of the class. So 30% of your grade should hopefully be easy to obtain. And that 30% is done what's outside of class. So 10% is your homework. The discussion forum that you'll have each week is 5%. SLA activities are things that you'll be doing in the Math Success Center for 5%. The quizzes will be done online, and you can take this as many times as you want, and they're intended to prepare you for the exams. So those are worth 10%. So these top 4 activities, the 30% should be hopefully the easy A part for you. And then if you do all those things, they're designed to help you to do well on the test and the final exam, which is worth the other 70%. All right, so what materials do you need for this class? So there's 2 options. One option is that you could purchase the ebook, which it means the electronic book online from the Aleks website. So you will have to purchase a student code, which you could be obtained online. And when you purchase it, you could purchase it with the electronic book. So it's going to be a little bit, or actually a lot cheaper doing it that way, and I recommend that. But for those of you guys that like using a textbook, you can use a textbook here that you could buy from the bookstore. So 2 options, getting the hard copy book or getting the ebook, the electronic book. You'll need a non-graphing calculator. I recommend a calculator like this. The TI-30XS. It's a scientific not a graphing calculator, but it's a scientific calculator that has sines, cosines, logs, exponents, things that you'll need for this class. Letting you know also that the Math Success Center rents these out for free if you're having financial difficulty purchasing it. I also highly recommend getting a homework notebook to organize and write out your homework problems, notes, and any questions that you might have. Even though this is an online class, it's really important that you keep a folder of everything that you're doing. So as you're doing your homework, please make sure to be writing out the homework problems, highlighting, making notes, creating your own lecture notes, basically based on what you're reading from the ebook and based on what you're doing in the homework. So keeping your own homework notebook is going to be super important for you to organize your work and learn the material. Student learning outcomes are what you can expect to learn at the end of this class. Now the second page. The second page talks about the Aleks online homework system. So I'm going to be going over that part in more details on my 3rd video, but this is an online system, and it's a web-based artificially intelligent assessment and learning system that's specifically designed to meet your unique level of math skills. So for those of you that have used Aleks before, you'll know that some students love it and some students hate it. It depends on the student. I personally really like it because the questions are based on your level of your math skills. So if you're struggling with a problem it'll give you several of those problems to do on repeat until you learn it. All right, so once you go into Aleks, you're gonna need a course code. So this is where it is. The financial aid access code will give you 2 free weeks of using Aleks without purchasing anything. So I recommend using this financial aid access code for 2 weeks to make sure that you really like this class and this is your type of learning style before purchasing the access code itself. But after 2 weeks, you're gonna have to purchase it. All right, so here are the instructions on how to get started on signing up for Aleks. So these are the instructions here, but again, I'll go over this in my 3rd video step by step, but you can read through it here. If you're ever experiencing technical difficulties on Aleks, please make sure to contact their technical support. Do not contact me. Do not contact Long Beach City College. We cannot help you. You'd have to contact the technical support from Aleks themselves. For example, if you forgot your password or something happens in terms of logging on. All right. The assignments and deadlines, on the last page of the syllabus, you'll see the schedule of when things are due. So for the due dates, they're due by midnight or 11:59 p.m. on the due date. If you need a 1-day extension, you can contact me and ask me for a 1-day extension, and I'll gladly give it to you. However, make sure that you ask for it as soon as possible. So don't ask me like 11 p.m. the day that's due, because I probably will not be on my computer at that time to give you the extension. All right, the course schedule, you can read that right here. Discussion forums. So every instructor uses a different discussion forum when we're doing a hybrid class. For me, I am using Facebook as a platform. And again, this is a love or hate relationship that people have with social media. So if you're a person that uses social media, this will be really easy and convenient for you to use because you're already on social media and you'll be able to get announcements from me. You'll be able to interact with the class. You'll be able to private message me to ask me any questions that you might have. Now, for those of you that do not like using Facebook, I understand. However, this is the platform that I did choose to use. So if you have a privacy issue that you're not a fan of social media, I say just create an account just for this class, and then by the end of the semester, you can delete it. So once you log onto Facebook.com and create your own, reuse your login name or create one, add me as a friend. My name is Nancy Math Mahan. Math Mahan is one word. Add me as a friend, and then look up this group here, and this is going to be our class group page, and it's going to be a private page that only those in the class can access. So LBCC Winter 2018 Math 130 Hybrid. So every week we will have discussion questions for you to discuss with the class. So I'll be going over what the discussion questions are through Facebook, so you'll be able to see it here. But here you can read and get an idea what it's about. All right, so additional resources for this class. You are not alone in this class, even though you might feel that way since it's a hybrid class and we're only meeting for exams and exam reviews. So outside of class, if you're struggling with any of the material, these are all the resources. All right, so quizzes. I mentioned earlier that the quizzes are going to be on Aleks, and they will summarize the main concepts from the chapter for that week. And they're due by midnight of Tuesdays of each week. You can take it as many times as you want. So I really highly recommend doing it until you get an A or even 100% if you could, because these quizzes will prepare you for the Wednesday tests. So they're kind of like practice exams if you want to look at that way. So the tests themselves are given each week on Wednesday. So I'll probably start class with an exam review for 45 minutes to answer any questions you have. And then after that, we'll take the tests in class. Notice that there's no makeups. If you happen to bomb an exam or you miss an exam, I have a special note here that says, Your final exam grade will replace your lowest test grade provided the final exam grade is higher. So if you don't do well in a certain exam, if you miss it, your final exam will replace the lowest scoring exam here. So I hope that makes sense. So your final exam is cumulative. Attendance and drop policy. It is mandatory that you complete this online orientation. Please do not cheat. Do not cheat yourself in terms of your education. You need to know this material for you to move on to the next math class. All right, so here, the second to last page, we are talking about the SLA, which is worth 5% of your grade. The SLA is done in the Math Success Center on campus, and it's basically like getting tutoring or getting extra help on the material, but we're giving you 5% for getting help, basically. So 5 activities are due. You could do any of these 3. You'd have to go to the Math Success Center to get this done. I'm pretty lenient on the due dates for this. I do have due dates on the calendar, but basically just make sure you get these done before the class ends. Okay, general rules for successfully completing this course. This is a hybrid class, and it's pretty different from a traditional class because you are responsible for learning the material outside of class on your own. So I've set up the structure of the class to help you to learn it, but really it's up to you to spend the time working on the material every single day. I highly recommend spending a minimum of 3 to 4 hours each day. Those students who have passed the class have said that that's about how much time that they spend on the homework and the material. Okay, the last page of the syllabus is the course schedule. So the online orientation, which is what you're doing right now, should be done by tonight, by Wednesday night, I'm sorry. You'll have a discussion due tonight on Facebook, and then notice that chapter 1 is due tomorrow, so please start working on this ASAP. Chapter 2 is due on Saturday. Chapter 3 is due on Monday. This is a really fast class, as you can see. You have your quiz 1, which I mentioned you could do unlimited amount of times, and then you have your test on Wednesday. So that's when I will see you in class on the second week of January. Notice also the add and drop deadline is right here as well. So if after the first week you feel like this class is going way too fast for you, or you're not getting the material, make sure you drop by the 7th of January so that you don't get a W showing up on your transcript. And this ends the orientation for the syllabus. In my next video, we'll go over the orientation for the online systems.